Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 114 of the ATL Falcons UK podcast. As you can tell by the smirk on my face, I think the tone of this show is going to be very different to last week. Obviously, devastating loss, not much in terms of positives, so we'll just crack straight on. Fraud Watch is no doubt going to be a cracker this week. I'm sure that there was a list of names, so we'll get straight to it. Boys, how are you all feeling as an overview to get us started?
Well, I think we can all collectively agree that that was probably, if not the worst performance we have witnessed. I mean, certainly that I've witnessed in my memory. I think this will stay with me for quite some considerable amount of time. And it I suppose it just kind of feels familiar because you kind of go, oh, well, you know, surely I mean, if it can get worse than that, then I think we've got serious problems. So I think, you know, you can pick apart a lot of yesterday. I think ultimately, you know, it was kind of a comedy of errors on every single unit of the field. And listen, you know, we all have bad days at the office. That was the worst day at the office I've seen, I think, since I've been a fan of the Falcons.
Yeah.
And I think it blindsided us. I think it blindsided us as fans, not because, you know, we were on fire in the first two games, but it was just so far away from what we've seen in the first two games. We've seen the ability to move the ball effectively down the field in the passing game and in the run game. We've also seen a stellar defensive performance against a pretty good offense. So how that all went wrong yesterday, I think that's the shock, isn't it? It's the shock of we've shown we can do a lot, and yesterday we did the opposite. So I am going to talk about it tonight, and then I'm going to forget it ever happened.
I will back you on that one.
And I think the players and the coaching team need to do the same, because if we see something similar next week, then burn it down.
Burn it down. Literally burn it down. I agree. Liam, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, pretty similar, really. It's hard to feel any other way other than that. It was just
I shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry. It's just a shocker.
It was just embarrassingly bad, wasn't it? Really, from start to finish. There wasn't normally, like, we have some like kind of like bright sparks to discuss or something that was okay, and like one side of the ball let us down or something like that. But everybody was trash. There was some that was like that were mediocre, that were like basically our stars of the game for us because of some mediocre play where they looked like capable professional football players for a period of time. That was about all it took. And there wasn't even many in that group, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of them were playing pee-wee football, whatever they call it over there.
How bad is it as well? Like to Liam's point there, you can dick on the defense because the defense were bad, or you can dick on the. It really is a sad state of affairs where you're like, wow, even special teams were absolute like
hog water.
Awful. Like, you know, that like, and it's easy to be like bad on special teams if you're not like hitting blocks or whatever, but like everything, and to the point where I got sent a video today of something that I didn't see on the highlights this morning, where two special teams players essentially just ran into each other.
Oh, that was so funny.
Yeah.
Wowzers. Bowsers.
That was the
Yeah.
best tackle of the game from us. Genuinely was. It was the only time we made contact with a player.
That's a shocker. Sorry, boys, I'm going to interject because I've got a good one that follows on from last week. So Paul is, of course, regular watching live. If any of you remember, last week he said that his son was debating changing teams from the Bears to the Falcons temporarily. And as you may have guessed, following on from last week, my son has decided not to take up the loan option of the Falcons and he's sticking with the Bears, which is a very, very wise move, if I do say so myself. So, yeah, can't blame him there. Cal, you lost your mind last night. How are you feeling, pal?
I think I lose my mind every week. I think.
Yeah, you do.
I still lose my mind. But honestly, it's a pure embarrassment of the league. Once again, this team never fails to embarrass us as fans. And I generally feel sorry for any fan that paid their money to go over to Carolina, sit and watch that, surrounded by Carolina fans.
That is rough. That is rough.
They 100% deserve the win. We were just absolutely shocking. But for any fans that went over, absolutely fair play and send them refunds, Falcons. And I know it's part of football and I know it's part of sports, but you follow your team, but there's sometimes where refunds are definitely deserved. And I think that's definitely got to be a game where you're not even scoring a point, not even on the last drive. We fumbled it on the last drive, and it was like, what? That you can't sum up that performance. We could speak about it for like 6 hours straight and we still wouldn't get it. It was just that bad. And it wasn't just one part of the team lost it. It all.
Yeah.
Generally, the defense, they gave up 16 points. And then you're like, 16 points against them overall is fine. Like, the pressure was poor throughout. But if they're scoring 16 against us, I'm still putting us down to winning that game 100%.
Yeah.
The offense thrown away 14 points, 2 interceptions, running the ball worked at times, but overall it's an absolute shit show.
Let's go chronologically then. Let's have a fun little talking point from that we covered last week in terms of Q being removed from the roster, Romo coming in, Romo going 5 for 5, but us notably, and we've got the receipts, having concerns about the quality of the kicks, but giving him benefit of the doubt because 5 for 5, hard to argue with. But we said, and Mark is holding his hands up because he was the main advocate for this, that the quality was not there, especially that first one last week. Started the game 0 for 2. I mean, not all the way through, but started the game 0 for 2, one of which would have had us getting the first points on the board. And one of which would have sat us at 7 and 6 at the time, I think, which would have been a very attainable scoreline to come back to. What now? What happens with the kicker? Is that enough for another exodus?
Just before Mark says his piece, which I completely agree with. I think Koo was going anyway. I think no matter what, I think he was out the door. So I just want to put that out. I think whoever it was last week, I think he was out the door. But no, I agree with what Mark's going to probably say. Go, Mark. Time to shout.
Well, listen, right, and I was in, I get added to a lot of groups, and I've been in I even left a group yesterday. If any of the boys in that group are annoyed with me about my little tantrum, sorry, but again, I'll say it again, I told you so. It is a thankless position. And I know I said some of this last week, so I'm not going to go over old ground. But ultimately, am I surprised? No. Did that potentially set the tone for the rest of the game? I don't think so, because if I'm honest, yes, from a points perspective, I take your point. It could have. I mean, I would have much rather have converted those kicks, still not done anything, and it said the scoreline said 36. But there is part of me that goes, I'm sort of half glad, because it vindicates you now getting rid of him. right? If he's like he's not going to cost you anything to cut him. There are enough kickers out there to go and get another one that is as that is serviceable, right? You know, you're not going to find Justin Tucker in free agency. I'm not sure if he's gone to jail or anything yet, but you might be able to pick him up with. But the thing for me is there's almost part you got time to fix that. You got time to fix that. But that isn't why we lost the game yesterday. You know, so I think we can, because of the Young Waku kind of narrative. Sure, yeah, you know, we let him go, and then this kicker, you know, turns out to be awful, which we you know may or may not have alluded to last week. But you know, that isn't why we lost the game. We could have, you know, you could have still dumped points on Carolina had you not been throwing the ball to them. And you know, for me, I just think it and this might, I'm going to say something that might surprise you, but this is the first time that I'm going. I'm really starting to doubt our head coach. And this is why, right? So hear me out, right? You have a decision to make to get the best players on that roster that you can afford within your means and all that sort of stuff. And I'm not saying that Koo was playing amazing, because he wasn't. So you don't go out and sign somebody that isn't good. Now, you know, again, Parker Romo might have just had a stinker yesterday. You know, like I say, bad day at the office for everybody. Sure, if you really trust in the guy, fine. But if you are making those personnel decisions for a position that has one job and one job only, and you are still getting that wrong, then I'm starting to judge the judgment. I'm starting to, you know, I know he's a man manager. He's a you know, he's a proper, you know, get your arms around people and you know, make them feel good and stuff like that. And I'll give him his flowers in the press conference. You know, his tone was a lot different to what we've seen. But I am, and you don't, I don't turn negative this quickly, as a rule. But I think looking at that performance from back to front yesterday, you know, if we don't see a fiery performance next week, then to me, there's part of me that goes, is it, you know, where is that born from? Because that isn't one unit. That isn't something you can blame on a coordinator. That rests on Raheem's shoulders yesterday, and the kicker in that conversation to me is, this is your guy. This is who you went with. This is who you chose. So, you know, I'm you know, I'm not saying fire him, but I'm saying I'm starting to doubt. So, you know, it's the kicker culminated it for me yesterday, and you know, I'm truly angry today after watching that.
I think adding on to Mark's point, which is actually a spot on point about Raheem, it's his kicker. So you've come into the season with Koo, who had a below average season last year. He's missed one kick in the first game. You've got rid of him. But is that not like unprepared? Should we have not been in the summer being like, our main focus is the kicker? He's missed one kick and we've got rid of him. But that's telling me that he was only one kick away for getting scrapped.
So why exactly? So why go into the season with him?
Yeah,
exactly. So that should have been the main point over the summer, to get a kicker. And there's hundreds of kickers that come through college and no one drafted one, but got them drafted. And then we've got this German guy, did well stats wise. I know he's not in game, which is different, but and then they say, oh, we're building him into the team. well, put him into the team. Like, I don't get.
Yeah.
Like, and I know we won't hit the 5 out of 5 last week, and you can say, oh, if you hit the 2 yesterday, it's a bit different. But the German guy knows how to kick, like all these kickers do. You've got to put him in game situations. It's no worse than Koo. Like, he's missed that one in the first game. It's just that's an unprepared, completely unprepared going into the season with a kicker that he was going to get rid of.
Yeah, and you've got to consider that Romo was like 28 or something like that. Like, he was undrafted in 2022. Before he joined us, he's played 4 games in the NFL. No, how many teams have probably tried him out in that amount of time and gone, nope.
Yeah.
Since 2022, and then one team gave him 4 games and cut him. Then we've got, he must be the guy. Right? Yeah. Where do you make that decision from? I know I did look at some of the free agent kickers. I was players like Hopkins are quite expensive for a kicker, and obviously Tucker is whatever he's doing. There's players like there was players like Michael Badgley out there who was kicking really well for the Lions until he tore his hamstring or whatever it was and missed the season. But he's back and healthy now. Obviously, he would have made much more sense as someone who's actually tried and tested and proven he can do it. Yes, he's had health and his hamstring could go again or whatever. Yeah. But he would be someone willing to take a chance who's proven. If he just go with somebody like him who's got the experience of doing it at a high level for a lot of years, and then if it hamstring does go again, it was a risk. But I think if the likelihood is he's probably a full year out and a bit more, he's probably expecting to be okay now, and he doesn't have to do that much. So surely somebody like him would have made far more sense than some guy who's played 4 games in 4 years, 5 years.
Yes,
making sense. And in terms of Raheem in general, we just didn't look motivated or ready or prepared or any of them things.
No,
it's not. You should be able to get up for any game, but this is a rivalry game. It might not be our deep rivals, but it's a rivalry game. It's a divisional game on the road.
Yeah.
There should be nothing easier to get up for than
I agree.
a rival divisional game on the road. It should be just he should just have to just do that little bit extra. And it looked like we just didn't even have any motivation. We didn't really go out there to play. And the Panthers must have thought, my God, can we play you every week? Because we didn't even have to get out of they only have about 4 gears. They didn't even have to get out a second. So they just walked all over us, really. And they won't play an easier game like that in next 10 years.
No. Well, it's very concerning and very telling, though, that Bryce Young's played against the Falcons 4 times and beat us 3 times. So it's I don't know what in the NFL mystery is going on there, but it doesn't even make sense. They've not even had winning seasons or better seasons than us in any of those years, and somehow we just come up short against them. But this is beyond short.
I've got a question before Danny goes to the comments or something. So Carolina's last 30-point win was when and against who?
It's going to be against us, isn't it?
Was it against us again? And was it in about 2016 or something like that?
2014, week 17, beat us by 30 plus points. Last time
the amount of records that were broken last night. I was sat listening and they went, this is the first time the Falcons have not scored a point since game week 4, 2023. And then near the end, they went, this is the first time the Falcons have had a shutout game since. And I was like, oh my God, everything that we can do badly is happening.
I mean, it was almost like a full moon weekend, wasn't it? There was some absolute madness across the NFL this weekend. And,
there was.
Just have to hope it's just one of those mad results. I mean, I'm gonna acknowledge it now because I know Cal will be absolutely shaken to say it out loud, but he did call it. He did call it.
He did call it.
He did call it.
Cal, have you got your piece of paper? that says
I'm not showing that on me. I am good January. But no, I said it last week and I did put it down for a lot. But when I say a lot, I meant like
a little bit.
not one where you don't score anything.
Yeah.
So at least we're winning the second game against them.
Maybe. I mean, statistically speaking. Andrew in the comments says maybe we should give Kirk a chance at kicking to get him to utilize him.
He'd do a better job.
Not see why not. I'm desperate at this moment in time. It's really hard to have this discussion because I don't even know where to start. Usually there's a really clear flow of like, oh, positives, negatives, different parts of the game. And I don't really know where to go. So
should we just start on, I was going to say, should we just start on like Mark's point of Raheem and then the coordinator? Because I think like...
Because it is more down to that.
Yeah, because I think obviously there was a timeout again, and I think the timeouts this season have been absolutely appalling. And that's on Raheem. That's on the coordinator as well at the same time. It's embarrassing, some of the... I think we had one yesterday, we called a timeout. The next play we got to scrimmage, and then it was a delay of game. That is absolutely embarrassing for any professional team to do that. Yeah. It was just, you starting the game like that. And if we started last week when me and Danny was listening to it on the radio when it was the first drive, and using the time.
We're doing it a lot.
Sorry to interject, chaps. Someone's just commented it, and I've just checked online. The Falcons OC, Zach Robinson, will move down from the box to the field to call plays next week. Atlanta have reported multiple issues with their headsets this season, resulting in delayed plays.
I don't believe a word of it.
That is the most
only team
PR'd statement I have ever seen in my life. You gave them 2 plays against the Vikings because that stadium's renowned for being loud. It happened multiple times again last night. What? You didn't use the same headset last week because you
can't get a proper headset that works.
Yeah, the one coming out of a timeout, you didn't even need the headset. You could have called the play during the timeout,
so you don't need
because he could have said, "Oh, my headset's not working. Let's call the play right now. Let's not go onto the field and then find out your headset's not working." Like what? What was that even?
Sorry, I'm just going to pop up Alistair for commenting that midway through the show. So thank you very much. It's hard to stay on socials whilst we're talking rubbish.
Well, come down to the field. What's that even going to do?
Well, listen. I mean, I don't know because I mean, I never played the game with headsets, so you just and I think the wild thing is, this is their job, right? And don't get me wrong, play calls for every playbook are always mental, and I imagine it's 50 times worse than what I experienced playing at an amateur level. Okay, fine. Move Zach Robinson down to the field. Like I don't really believe in coordinators sitting in a box anyway. But whatever. Fine. Then this ain't an excuse anymore. Like cool, right? If that's the move you're gonna make, you can't make that. You can't make it again. Yeah. It can't happen again. And I'm just at a kind of point now where I'm like, well, what we doing here? What, genuinely, what are we doing? What are we trying to? Yeah. What are we trying to achieve here? Yeah. And if you're really saying that over the past 2 games, your headsets are awful, and you didn't fix them after last week.
That's what I mean. If you use the set, we're a multi-billion-pound franchise. You just kept the same £5 wireless headset.
Don't use headsets on the side anyway to still speak to the quarterback. Like the quarterback don't always go over. They still use.
No, they still use them.
It's ridiculous.
What is it? A frequency thing? Like too high up. Is that what it is?
Andrew in the comments has just said, having him on the sideline will make it easier for players to tell him his ideas are rubbish.
Well, I think, to our earlier point, I think you're running out of places to hide now. You know, and okay, fine, move him to the field. You haven't got an excuse now. And that's, I think that's what I'm really disappointed at, is that like, if you're making excuses now, and to be fair, like I say, I watched Raheem's press conference with much interest earlier, and I respect the fact that he didn't make excuses, and he was quite blunt and he was quite straightforward, and he was spot on what he said about, you know, how bad we were. Well, guess what, buddy? It's your job to go fix it, because, like, with the best will in the world, being pally with players and putting your arms around her, yeah. Guess what? We did that with Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
Who you worked for? And he hasn't necessarily got a glittering resume after he left us either. So, like, you know, I genuinely think we're like, those guys are in a seat that is becoming increasingly warm. And we said at the beginning of the season, if you fail this season, I think Terry and that coaching team are done. And if you keep on losing like that, you know, I'd be really surprised if you see the season out, genuinely. So let them. Okay, fine. Your headset's on, Wigan. Fine. Okay. Well, then I'm sure the OC now being on the sideline will solve all of those problems. But to me, whether you're calling plays in a headset or not, your quarterback was missing open throws, and that was what surprised and shocked me more than anything, because what we've seen of Penix so far, he's been very ball protective. He's been very, you know, he doesn't make stupid decisions. But then again, we said that about Kurt, and look what happened there. So this whole offense is concerning me right now. And you know, they've got 1 week to do something.
And I've got some interesting team level stats that suggest where the issues lie, because you could easily sort of like blame everybody and say things like the blocking was poor or whatever, but actually our pass blocking and run blocking was by far the highest grade on both this season in that game.
Oh wow.
Our pass blocking went up by 20 points compared to the Vikings game. So they blocked a lot better as a unit, and we didn't execute anything behind it.
That's really surprising.
I think you could generally tell that he had more time in the pocket and more time to throw, and some of his throws was like, I'm not quarterbacking it, I know it's a hard game, but you are professional and you're getting paid £80 million or whatever you get paid, so I don't really care. Some of the throws like that one to McLeod, and saying someone was like, oh, McLeod slipped a bit. Even if McLeod slipped in that point, it should have gone straight into his arms. It was hitting the floor. It was. It wasn't just. It was just so many. I think he ended up on 50% completion, which is appalling. Some of the throws.
We went up by.
Overall, I think some of the receivers. But I can tell Moody's not definitely 100%. He don't look 100% fit at all. Which I don't think helps. He was getting
Morris has said that, like, he's 100.
But then I'm like,
100% healthy, but
don't put him in
no
the team.
So
don't put him in the team. Use someone else. We don't need players that. It's not a playoff game where you think just use them. It's third game of the season. If he gets injured again, it knocks him back. Pointless. We have other receivers who can do the job. But Liam said, if our passing blockage was 20% higher than, or 20 whatever higher than usual.
Yeah.
Two probably better teams as well. That just proves how bad Penix was yesterday. And it wasn't just him, like.
Well, yeah.
We give Algier 1 attempt with the ball. 1 attempt. I don't think there's been any injury news about him, so why is he getting 1 attempt? Carter obviously got the last few plays. It's very looked alright. Fumbled it, but I think it was only getting beat 30-0, so I don't really care about that either. He was just gone him.
Our pass walkie went up by 20 points, and our passing grade went down by 30. So that's
okay.
It's going well, isn't it? Everything points in the right direction.
I think going back to Zach Robinson quickly, it's not just this season; it's last season as well. Like there was so many plays in the red zone. We didn't even reach the red zone. We didn't reach the red zone.
We didn't. Yeah.
How can you
What was the
explain
closest
that?
we got? 32 yards out, I think, was the closest we got. Right.
Which is absolutely embarrassing. That's also on him, not just Penny. So, and I get like it's hard to sack someone 3 games in the season because you know the system and that. But it's not just the 3 games. It's half of last season when it wasn't going right either. And even when it was going right, I think a lot of it was on Kirk compared to him making some of his play calling. But we've got 1 more game and then we've got the bye week. And I think Zach Robinson's heart is very hot right now. Very hot.
Yeah, I mean, I think the message going into next week is to your point, Carl. If you go in 1-3 in that bye week, you would argue that it's not season over, but it's getting particularly close. And I say this all the time. If something's not working, make adjustments. And if we think about yesterday as laterally as we can, and we just go, look, Penix had a bad game. He's what, five career games in, he's came in earlier than we expected him to. There is a learning curve in the NFL, and you have to hope that curve does not become a big one. I didn't watch yesterday and suddenly don't believe in Michael Penix anymore. I think even if you choose to believe that utter twaddle about headsets, if he's been coached up until now to live and die by the headset, then that's a
failure.
That's an organizational failure, you know.
Because why are you not setting your rookie up to have some kind of freedom and accountability for the plays? Yeah. I get he's young, but he's a quarterback. For sure.
I was going to say, if you're on a last-minute drive to win the game, you're creating your own plays at that time. It's very rarely you're getting the ball down. So I know it wasn't in that point, but there's times where he should be picking up. He should be knowing some plays and just like, yeah, we're doing this.
Yes. His reads yesterday were completely off, and I think one of the things with the NFL is coaches are meant to try and predict what you're going to do. And if Carolina have looked at film and gone, right, okay, this is how Penix operates, this is how we get at him, and this is how we counter what he can do, then Raheem's right. They were out-coached. However, 30-0 is it's not even out-coached. It's you're almost signing your own P45 at this point. So you like do something different and adjust. And like if people are already starting to figure out what first year technically Michael Penix is going to do, then that's up for the OC to scheme better. But it's also on Penix to understand that, okay, the play call is the play call. That's all very well and good. But if you've got somebody open, but you've got a target that you're being told to hit the open player, don't hit the target that you're being told to hit. Because like, he is an extremely astute thrower of the ball. He hasn't become a bad quarterback overnight.
No, not at all. No.
Something fundamentally went wrong yesterday. I think the Panthers schemed extremely well. But like the worry is the capitulation. The worry is the sudden, like, they're in our faces, things aren't going right. Like there was no, like, I think you said it in the group chat yesterday, Danny, maybe you, I can't remember because I was very drunk. But like the reset, that was it. Like reset. Like at half time, that game should have been fully reset, game plan fully reset. And it didn't. They didn't, and that to me is what was worrying from the coaching yesterday.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And I think Cal's absolutely right to the point. Actually, defense held at 16 points, so maybe a slight honourable mention there. But one sack, we should have done better than that against Carolina. So defense.
It's funny you say that because
don't get
we have the new segment that we were going to use this week about rookies, and I don't really know if it's worth even running that back this week at all. Liam, I've got the clip, so if you want to do your segment, we can do your segment, but I don't know if it's the appropriate week.
There's not much good things to say, so I don't know if
should we sit on it for a week?
Yeah, we want to wait until there's like they're not all the time. I was just thinking about what Mark was saying about being 1-3. I'm reminding myself of obviously who we've got the next games.
It's awful.
Realistically, we're not going to be favourite against the Commanders, but we've got a chance against them in terms of, obviously, if we play like we did this week, we haven't. But like on paper, we've got a chance. They're like 2-1. That I expect Daniels to be back, and they'll be the favourites against us. And then after that, obviously, they won't be by then, but by right now, we play 2-3-0 teams in the Bills, who I expect to beat us, and most people will. The 49ers, who I would question, obviously, as a team, but they are 3-0. So
they've lost Bosa for the season now as well, haven't they?
Yeah, it's one of them teams that can grind out, they're so adaptable, in terms of the way they can play. And that's on the road. That's just a tough game, in general. It's a winnable game. It's tough. That realistically, there is a chance that we're 1-5.
Yeah,
and if we go to 1-5, that season done.
That's it then. It's done.
So that to me is the moment we'd have to.
The worst part about all of that is we don't even have a first round pick, so you can't even construct a solid rebuild or another rebuild. This was a rebuild. You can't. I'm not saying you can't categorically, but you're not getting that high value.
I don't think it's generally all the players though. If everyone looked at our team, perhaps some people put it down the worst team in the NFL, but the team's strong. That offense it's meant to be scary. It's meant to be fucking frightening, but it's not at the moment. And I know, but
if we end up,
we should have won the first 2 games for me.
Listen, I hear what you're saying, Danny. I do, but I'm going to completely disagree with that because the Rams, the Niners, have for the past few years squandered picks after picks after picks and they're still competitive. So no, I can't like if we end up if this does turn into a bad season, the organizational heads will roll, but whoever comes in, and we said this when we hired Raheem, so this is the funniest thing. You're not picking up a roster devoid of talent. You're picking up a roster that needs to be structured and schemed in the right way. This is, it would be catastrophic because we should be competitive. We should be. And it's the front office and the organization that are letting this team down right now. They're not setting them up to be competitive. But this is one game because we have been competitive in the other two. So let's not pull the ripcord just yet. Yes, I agree. We probably lose against the Bills. I don't think the Commanders have been anywhere as electric as they were last year. Yes, they've had a good start to the season. I don't think Daniels is back, or is he?
They've said he's day to day at the moment.
He should be, but Mariota was great, so
but
it'd be a comeback game for him, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So,
but if you recall, last season we had a shootout with them, and we have a better defense now. I said it after that game last year. If we had a bit of a better defense in that game, we would have won it.
Yeah.
So like we cannot go down the rabbit hole today of going, that was awful. We are awful. We're awful again. We're going to be awful for the rest of the season. We can't do that. If we get absolutely eggplant emojied, because I'm going to be the one not to swear this week. Next week, then okay, maybe a bit more alarm bells. But I don't think we're in the conversation just yet of, well, we haven't got a first round pick next year, so it's not. Of course we can. But here's hoping that we don't have to.
I think the big difference is your approach is very valuable in terms of giving away first round picks and things like that to get capital, to get capital in like the Rams and 49ers did. But if we're in a position where we're 1-5 and then we've not got a first round pick, the big difference between that is the Rams and 49ers won games of football by doing that. They didn't go 1-5. Obviously, the 49ers made back-to-back Super Bowls. The Rams won it by doing that. Yeah. They were never bad teams with that approach. But if we end up doing that and we were a bad team, that says that's Terry all over, isn't it? You've took a risk. Nothing wrong with taking the gamble and doing it that way.
Yep.
But if you take a risk and you end up in that position, something's gone wrong, badly wrong. Because you expect to be in a position where if you're 1-5, you're probably some kind of rebuild team that's got a decent roster and decent picks. We'd have a very good roster and very few picks, and still be 1-5, which you don't want to. You should be able to coach this roster to a playoff position. That's where we should definitely be at. And not even just that in general we should be, but even in this division where two of the teams suck and the other one is good, but not like Bills sort of good.
Really?
Well, yeah, I'm just going to rule those out. Two of the other teams suck. Then we that should be four. That should have been 4 wins. Basically, everybody at the start of the season that's Falcons fan would have expected 4 wins. I would imagine against Saints and Panthers. That should have been 4 of our bankers. Going 1-1 against the Bucs would have been good. Even if we lost both against the Bucs, we felt like some of the other games was maybe enough to topple them. But we're losing to a team. We're behind the Panthers now, which says a lot because they've not set anything alight this season, and they had no expectations to. That was the difference.
I'd also note that the Panthers' schedule is pretty friendly compared to what we've got. It's pretty friendly, and I know that's not a dictator of everything, and they are a bad team. overall.
But,
so we shouldn't be concerned. But they're looking at when we've got Commanders and Bills and stuff like that. They're looking at Patriots who are questionable, so that could go either way. They've got the Dolphins after that who are busted up. And then it goes on to Cowboys, which is a bit different. But even they're not in a great state. So I think we're going to need a nice little 7 or 8 game winning run at some point this season if we want to recover.
Right, but
go on, Mark.
No, I was just going to say, look, I think we have to, the third game in, be very, very careful that, where literally this whole conversation has been, we are bottom of the pile again.
All
right?
Bad, yeah.
And
we are not all bad.
And there is the potential that may carry on, right? and I'm hearing that loud and clear, but we're already like doom scrolling at this point. And I'm gonna say it again, it was a poor day at the office for everybody yesterday. And a lot of those players that we're talking about, we were praising last week. And I think we have to be very careful that we're not because if we're saying it, everyone's going to be saying it. And actually, the people that probably need a bit of space right now is they need to go and reset.
Yeah.
We are 1-2 at the moment. And we have just had a conversation about being 5-1. Like lads.
Yeah.
Listen, we drown in pain every year, but at 1-2, we cannot be sitting here going, we're going to go 1-5. Like we can't.
Yeah.
Because this otherwise this show is going to become hella repetitive for the next.
Yeah. Well, I was actually just looking at the clock and I thought, we've probably been on about 20 minutes. And we've done 47 minutes and not one positive comment has been said. And to be fair, we're a nice split bunch. We do like to try and scrape the positives where we can.
Yeah.
I just understand it's been harder this week, that's all.
Yeah. The thing is the results.
They also deserve slaughtering when they get embarrassed like that thing. I think my last stance is you got Washington next week. And I know every game is massive in the league, but I think this could be like Zach Robinson's last game. If you're at home, you got a bye week the week after. I don't think they will. I think for me, if we lose again and the offense doesn't perform, he should be gone no matter what. This organisation doesn't sack anyone ever, really. I don't think if we went 1-5, which is obviously a possibility, I think then Raheem should be gone. Like you do it halfway, there's no point. The season's over. But I think next week is massive, and I don't think it's just performance-wise. I think it's just you get the win and you go from there. But you go in, if you do lose, you go in 1-3, and then you got that hard schedule for the next 2 games after, like you mentioned.
It's a difficult league to get out. Like last season, we needed one more win to get into the playoffs. Essentially, even though these early games are early and you've got time to recover and everything, the league's that tight and it's that few games to actually compete against each other that every single win is important at every point in time. I don't know, I didn't do a game by game sort of thing, but I would imagine that there's quite a few people who had us 3-0 right now potentially, having the Bucs at home, and then obviously probably had us beating the Panthers, and the Vikings was a bit of a toss-up, but there could be being 1-2 or maybe 1-3, even if we get to that level, which is still recoverable. You're just constantly chasing, and it could easily come down to where it's a 1-2 game difference, and yes, there'll be games down the line that we'll end up losing that we maybe could have won, but it should have been a gimme really against a team of that nature in the division, and it could be that game that lets us down again. It was like the Saints game last year that we lost that would have been the game that would have got us into the playoffs if we'd have won it. And this could end up being a similar scenario. And you can't keep chasing things at the end of the season. Like the Bucks can get out a roll at any point.
I agree. However, the one thing that I would say is you would rather lose the gimme early so that you have time to make it up than the state that we were in last season.
Yeah, I'd rather do it early
because it was too late by then.
We just can't keep like season after season. We can't just keep having these lapses. Like it might be just one game and we might be okay, but if we have a couple of two or three more of these games where we should win with a better team and we just don't execute, that you can't have more than like 2 or 3 of those in the season and still expect to get to the playoffs. It's too tight.
I agree.
Yeah,
every season there's too it just won't be enough, and it shouldn't be enough because there's teams going out there that are losing 1-2 games the entire season and obviously like dominated it, and then you go in like 10-6, 10-7, whatever to like your next best thing when wouldn't even 9-8 and stuff like that just isn't good anymore.
No.
Don't worry, I've got us on a 5-winning streak in the halfway through the season.
Is that after we're 1-5 or
Oh yeah, I'll have to reevaluate.
Is that
I'm about to change my mind for the next 4.
It is like us to win some of these games. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I think like the Bills won. I think we'll all put that as a loss, but I think this week is obviously massive. You just got to, what Mark think you just got to.
Listen,
just like us to swank the Bills. That's what we'll do.
We were quite quick 2 minutes ago to go. Yeah, Dolphins are broken. Dolphins took them within a couple of points. So listen, this season is mental. And what we are talking about is we want a reaction. So they got to go and do it against Washington.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
And from what I've seen, Washington's defense is not very much better. So you've got an opportunity. And if we go into that bye week, 1-3, I absolutely agree that that's definitely alarm bells season. But this game is more than winnable.
Yeah, it is. To try and lighten the mood before we draw to the end of the show, because it's been a rough one. Mark, your segment is coming up. I am hoping, and I could be wrong, that this does not incriminate us any further than we already have done for the whole show. But if it does, then so be it. Roll the clip. Welcome to Fraud Watch.
Welcome to Fraud Watch. Look, I had a whole segment prepared on a certain individual, but for I would, and I'm not doing this to dig anybody out, because I think with the theme of this show, but I would not be comfortable because I do have morals, even though how bad I absolutely destroyed JJ last week. The dedication of Fraud Watch this week goes to Mr. fucking Zach Robinson. I said I wasn't going to swear, but I just did.
The first coach inducted into Fraud Watch Hall of Fame.
So my planned victim has had another very, very mediocre week, so he will be making an appearance next week. Don't you worry about it. However, I am calling it now, and I'm kind of aligned to what Carl said earlier on. This offense should be scary. This offense should be something that is feared with the amount of first team weaponry on it. and I am not convinced that Zach Robinson has much of an idea how to make that offense fearful. And after what we've seen and some of the red zone kind of impotency over since he has been appointed, culminating in that awful performance yesterday against the Panthers, and to throw into the mix the absolute front to try and blame headsets. I'm not having it. So he has not only got to prove that the Atlanta Falcons offense is one to be feared against the Commanders next week, but he also has to prove that he is not worthy on a place in Fraud Watch. Zach Robinson, you are officially on Fraud Watch.
You all heard it here first. That was episode 2 of Fraud Watch.
It's a very good point with because we were quite high on Zach Robinson. A lot of people weren't they, really, because of coming off that that Rams team. But it does make you think that how much of that is basically just like McVay and his
McVay. Yeah.
They're still good now. Like obviously they also just about lost yesterday on a very tight game. If they'd have won that, they'd have been 3-0. They'd have looked very good again. Like they just keep churning out results, like no matter which coordinators go in, and where they go in under McVay, and they just look creative like every time. Yeah, and it just make you wonder when maybe like a lot of people obviously kind of know how good McVay is. He's one of the best coaches in the league, obviously, but everyone was quite high on Robinson because of that offense, especially how they were using the running game. But it just makes me wonder how maybe McVay is even better than people thought it was.
I genuinely couldn't agree more. Because remember, in that when the Rams were at their peak, the defensive coordinator was Raheem. So I think that you might well be onto something. And the only thing that, if Fraud Watch is in fact correct, and Zach Robinson is the fraud that he possibly may well be, then I can only hope that we fire him on the same day that Mike McDaniels gets fired from the Dolphins, because I would break both of my legs to have him in that position, calling plays for that. Because that's the other thing about Mike McDaniel, he's always on the sideline. Which apparently, changes everything. According
to a 60 bomb.
According to Mr. Robinson. So we will wait and see if the Fraud Watch needs to continue.
Quick jump into the comments on the back of your Fraud Watch. Electrify regular watcher says, bin the morals, the whole team on Fraud Watch.
Oh no. The speech about morals was that I actually really didn't want. I didn't feel like I could turn on because this player is not a player that we've played. He's in the AFC. But I didn't really feel like it was right for me to go off on another player after we were subjected to that utter hogwash yesterday. So that's where my morals were lying. And yes, Fraud Watch is keeping a weather eye on many other individuals that were in a white uniform yesterday. So, but it will be back with a vengeance next week, and hopefully not pointed at any.
We've also got Thomas in the comments saying, I completely agree with fraud of Zach Robinson. Too predictable, huge inability to adapt throughout a game. Doesn't seem to know how to unlock our true potential. We have so many weapons, and if everyone knows what they are going to do before we even do it, just shows how incapable he is of doing the job.
Yeah, it's a good point with Bijan. I was trying to watch back some of his runs because he had a solid-ish game yesterday. He was one of our better players in terms of the yards per carry and stuff like that. And like we've obviously had a very good run game in the second game. We didn't in the first game, and it was okay yesterday. But when you watch it, like I wonder how many yards you could put down to just Bijan's ability.
Yeah,
just
Bijan actually giving him a decent run play. Like if you put an average running back in, like are these plays like they could be really bad? Like Bijan's making people miss and gaining extra yards because of just the player he is, which makes us look like we've got a good run game, but actually we could be scheming absolute naff, and he's just making people miss because he's good at what he does.
Yeah.
And I did watch quite a few of the plays like yesterday, going back specifically to watch those, and there were many plays where most running backs in the league would have been tackled for a loss or a 1 or 2 yard gain on a lot of them that he got 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Because he got past somebody or he trucked somebody over, like whatever it was.
Yeah.
I do think that running game may be even worse from a Zach Robinson perspective than we're actually giving him credit for. Give the opposite, but I think then that's kind of his forte, isn't it? That was what we like. The way that they used the running backs in LA Rams was kind of what we were most excited about, and I don't think he's actually as good at that as we think he is.
Well, I think my leniency with him is that I understand, it was his first OC's job, etc., etc. But to go back to your previous point and something that the comment just said there, he's not adapting, he's not changing anything. I think that the game plan against the Bucs was to throw the ball and not run it as much. And I think you've probably seen that actually it was probably fairly warranted. I think as I've watched the highlights in the Bucs over the past couple of games, their run defense is quite strong. The Vikings, it almost feels to me like, you can that's fine. You can go pass heavy or run heavy. Yeah. And maybe yesterday, judging by the amount of attempts that you had Penix throwing, maybe the right choice was to throw the ball. But if those players aren't going to work, this might just be a culmination of, look, everybody just had a bad day, so like maybe it's not let's cool it. But I just think that you should be doing more with some of these guys. And to Liam's point, I think it just proves it, right? Like if it wasn't Bijan and it was just some little
middle of the pack,
it may well be different. So it needs to change.
How would I summarize the last hour of conversation to the people that are just tuning in now?
You just have to watch the game back.
Yeah.
You can imagine what it was like.
Unless anyone's got anything else, purely Falcons, we'll do a quick couple of minutes around the league just because it was a bit bonkers. I'm all burnt out of the downward spiral that we're in. And I agree with Mark's comments earlier. Well, 1 and 2. It's not the end of the world. We were cataclysmically bad, but there is time. Yeah.
Really well.
So I think I'm drawing my line at that.
Bad day at the office. Bad day at the office. Keep calm.
Yeah.
Let's not stop burning the bends down yet. But it's like. If we go out and beat Washington, like guys, we're not having the same conversation, right? Like it's just not think too much in it, and let's like we've done group therapy because this is what I really think this is what we should rename this podcast. But we've done group therapy. Let's park it.
Yeah. And
we go again next week, but it's a tough loss. We're all hurting. We're all hurting with it. But yeah, let's not be thinking about we're going to go 1-5. Like if we go into that by 2-2, then there's fight in the old dog, right? So just keep calm and carry on.
I've got a
Go on, Cal.
just before we wrap up, I had 2 good moments yesterday. Martinelli scored in the 93rd minute against that scum. And then Liam making the best comment I've ever heard in the chat. I put in the chat, these are the 2 worst supporting teams in the league. And he just went, he would have put, to remove the support. It made me laugh for about a good 10 minutes. I think that was the only positive we got from that Falcons game. What a moment. That's why I think throughout the show, I've just been thinking about it. I keep chuckling to myself about it.
Liam's been on fire this season. He's the Falcons haven't dragged him down to hell yet, so he's still
trying.
Right.
They're definitely trying. Yeah, I think from an around the league point of view, I give a bit of a cheeky shout out to the Cleveland Browns for beating the Packers in what will be definitely go down as one of the biggest shocks of this season. I'm sure. That pass rush is scary. It's absolutely terrifying. Like Jordan Love must have been like he was having nightmares about that stuff. Like because obviously you've got Garrett and stuff, and then there's a couple of other guys that got multiple sacks, and they were ferocious. Like they are like the running game will go with Judkins coming back out of jail, wherever else has been, and get a capable quarterback, and there might be some positive signs for the Browns, which is maybe the first time ever. I think ever.
I mean, they're still.
Still bad.
I mean, they're still playing quarterback roulette. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Shock result. Kudos to the Browns, which is not something that many people say a lot. Because they were playing a stacked Packers team, so I think everyone expected a bit of a walkover there. So yeah, absolute kudos. But I don't think the Browns are suddenly gonna morph into a good team.
I don't think so. But they're closer than I give them credit for. Maybe just because they've got a defense who can ruin people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I didn't actually have a proper one from around the league. We kind of accidentally covered it. After the Falcons game finished, the Eagles and Rams game came on, and I watched the last, 6 minutes of that. What a bonkers bottle having a kick to tie the game, and then, and then getting it blocked and everything. And then it just blew up. It was mental. I had the Rams on to winning as well, and I was really, really frustrated with that. I was devastated. Thought he did everything right, and then there was a big man play, and I love that big man play.
That man could shift.
I love a big man play. I saw his interview today, and they timed it compared to his dash in the combine, and he beat his combine speed, which I think is impressive because in game beating a combine speed is.
He said he's lost like loads of weight or something, didn't he? So he's now an athlete, and he's out there loving it, evidencing it in front of everyone. Genuinely, no one and obviously they didn't chase him down because they felt they could have. Like the commentator said at the time, I don't think they could have caught him.
No,
that man was moving.
He was. He had legs. Also, when you're that size, even if you're a little bit slower than the man that's chasing you, when you're that size and you've got so much force,
usually they fall over though, like in some really comedic way, don't they? Like they lose the balance and fall on the face. So I was waiting for that to happen, but no, that man's ran before.
Stayed up, stayed going. We've got a lot of Falcons comment.
I have 2 around the league comments to make, and I've mentioned both players on the pod before, but I want to give them another shout out. The Daniel Jones redemption arc continues. Like
crazy.
My guy. Like fair play. Like he's proven. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that. They've had a fair, I would say probably a fair run of quite winnable fixtures for them, but I don't think anybody expected Daniel Jones to
Mark's correction.
Good
I've
to see.
lost him. You're back. You're all good now.
Oh,
we didn't expect anyone.
So yeah,
to expect anyone, and then it just.
I just don't think anybody expected him to be as effective as he's been. So I just a big shout out for him, and just that player. I mean, I know the Giants are not great, but just that player, I just love watching Cam Scatterbo. Like that man is playing like he wants CTE. Like the man is a and it's overlooked because he's not like flashy, or he's not gonna run for or whatever, but his blocking is unbelievable. Like once again this week, he was obviously just sort of playing as a bit of a lead blocker, and he chipped and just literally just dropped the shoulder into a dude that was twice his height. Because he's only quite a small stotty guy, and this guy was like instantly just essentially running on one leg because he just totally removed his center of gravity. So like there's some fun players in this league right now, and it obviously adds to the some of the insanity that we've seen obviously this weekend. But yeah, big ups Cam Scatterbo. I love him.
That did remind me actually to give one more shout that I did to the I did in the chat before with Isaiah Rodgers posting the best ever PFF defensive grade of all time with a 99.9 grade that he delivered yesterday for the Vikings, which I think is some going to grade 99.9. I can't remember what his exact things were now, but what did he do something like? I can't remember what the fumble was. It a fumble recovery for a touchdown, interception for a touchdown, and 2 other fumble recoveries or something like that across the game, which is absolutely insanity across one game. Is some going. Yeah, I think he did 1 fumble recovery, another one for a touchdown, and then a pick 6, maybe even 2. But what a game! He's gonna remember that for the rest of his life. Like the greatest defensive performance ever. I think he'll tell his kids.
Ever. Love it. We've had a few more comments, but it is time to wrap up the night, so we will start to pick them up next week. Boys, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Watching the game with you was not a pleasure, unfortunately. Mark, I hope you had a nice meal out, because it would have been a million times better than watching that live.
Absolutely. I did not suffer at all.
That's what peace feels like, feeling whole. But yes, thank you to everyone that's watched live. Over 300 people have tuned in at some point tonight, whether you've watched the full thing or just nipped in for a couple of minutes. We really, really appreciate it. We hit 500 subscribers on YouTube yesterday, which is a big, big thing for us. Like 4 lads talking waffle about American football from the other side of the pond. And the fact that some of you actually appreciate what we say and we don't sound like idiots all the time is brilliant. So we will keep going. As we said, we'll be back next week following the Commanders game, and hopefully in a better position than we have been this week. And maybe it won't be a group therapy session, but that remains to be seen. Mark, I know it's late at night, and I know you're probably feeling a little bit rough, but do you want to sign us off? But you can do it quiet if you want to. I don't mind.
No, we don't do things by half.
No.
Guys, as Danny just said, hit massive milestone hit on one of the platforms, but we are across all platforms. You can watch this back on YouTube or all social media platforms, or if you're like me and you like listening to podcasts in the car or to go to sleep or anything like that, then you can find us on all podcasting platforms too. Apple Music, Spotify. Oh, where are you? get your podcast.
I tried to keep my arms up in solidarity with you, and I got tired halfway through.
I tried to do it a bit quieter so that my mic didn't cut out. I don't know if you did or not. But...
Well delivered.
I love it. Anyway, like Mark said, thank you everyone for watching, and we will catch you next week.